Para vender? Posso ver a garrafa? Ah, quer ver?
Sim, sim, deve.
Estava previsto para esta manhã o balanço.
Welcome to Destination Eat Drink, the travel channel for foodies. If you enjoy foodie travel content, like and subscribe. We are in Setubal, Portugal today, which is about 45 minutes south of Lisbon. It's easy to get here if you drive. You can take the train, you can take the bus. It's a great place for a day trip. It's a great place to vacation. Setubal is a small city that's known for its fishing heritage. It's also known to have some of the most beautiful beaches in all of Portugal. But we are not here today about fishing or about beaches. We are here to try some Moscatel. And Moscatel is a fortified wine. Now, if you know anything about Portuguese wines, the one thing you've probably heard about is port wine. And port is made up in the north of Portugal in the Douro Valley, about 3-4 hours north of here. It's made using a similar process, Moscatel is, to port, but there is one major difference. So I'll tell you how fortified wine is made, and then I'll tell you what makes Moscatel different. So what happens when you're making regular dry wine is you ferment the grapes in a barrel or in a container of some kind until all of the yeast has eaten the sugar. And that's what makes it dry. That's why you don't get a sweetness with most dry wines. What happens with fortified wine is somewhere during the fermentation process, a distilled spirit is added. And that alcohol, that intense alcohol, kills off the yeast that's eating the sugar, leaving behind some residual sugar. That's why most fortified wines are sweet tasting. Port especially is rather sweet tasting. Moscatel has some sweetness to it. Then they continue aging it until it's ready to bottle, and then they sell it. And of course, some ports can be aged 10, 20, 30, 40 years, even longer. Same with Moscatel. Usually you don't see 40-year aged Moscatel, but it can be aged as well. Here's the main difference with Moscatel. Moscatel, they don't remove the grape skins during that last fermentation process. They stay in contact with the grape juice. And that adds a depth of flavor to the Moscatel and also adds a little bit of color to it as well. So it makes for a really nice experience if you're enjoying it. Now, Moscatel is then aged at least 18 months in order to be called Moscatel, but most Moscatels are aged 5 years or even longer. When you have a young Moscatel, that usually has flavors of like fruit, berries, things like that, honey. And aged Moscatel, ones that's been aged a long time, that has more complex character, dried fruit, maybe some smokiness to it. So that's what you can expect. There's two major grapes that are used to make Moscatel. There's the Roxo, which is purple grape, translates to purple. It's not really a purple grape. Don't think like a dark red grape like a Cabernet or something like that. It's a mostly white grape with a little purple tinge. They call it purple. It's really more of a pink tinge to it. And then there's the Alexandria grape to make the Alexandria de Moscatel. And that's a white grape. So those are the two major kinds. This is the Moscatel de Roxo. This is my favorite. It's really nice. Not nearly as sweet as most port wines that you might get up in the Douro Valley, but there's definitely some sweetness to it. It would be nice with some chocolate, be nice with pastel de nata or any sweet tart. But I've seen guys sitting at coffee bars and places in the morning drinking a Moscatel with their coffee. So people in Setubal, they drink this all day long. Let me tell you where we're at. I told you we're in Setubal. This beautiful place, I mean, look at this mural behind me. Is this not gorgeous? We are in the Casa de Baia, which is one of the tourism offices here. And you might be saying to yourself, why are you going to a tourism office? Isn't that kind of cheesy? Isn't that kind of a place where tourists go to get ripped off on overpriced tours? Not in Portugal. generally, the tourism offices are very well run, they're very respectable, and they often have cool spaces like this. This one also has a wine shop. Personally, I shop here. I go and I buy bottles of wine here. You might think, oh, it's probably really overpriced. No, you can find bottles of wine here in Setubal in the Casa de Baia for €5. And it's not rot gut, it's good wine. You can spend more than that too if you want. And there's a little cafe in there. They've got stuff for you to try, little pastels and whatnot. And they also have coffee, and of course they have Moscatel too. How much did Moscatel run? You go to a coffee shop or something like that, it might cost €1, €2. This one was €3. If you go into a fancy place and get an aged Moscatel, it could be several more euros than that. So that's about the price that you can expect to pay. But if you just want to sample, just, you know, a couple of euros is plenty to try a nice Moscatel. So I'm going to enjoy this one. So we're at the second stop of our Moscatel crawl in Setubal, Portugal. Let me tell you where we are, because it's very different than the first place. First place we were at, Casa de Baia, right on Luisa Todi, which is the main drag in Setubal. And it's a tourist office, so there's a lot of tourists there. Got locals there too, but you know, a lot of tourists come through there. This is, I don't know, a 3-minute walk away, 4-minute walk away. We are now in the Troinho neighborhood, and this neighborhood is completely different. This neighborhood traditionally was very working class. Setubal itself is very working class town, but this place, this neighborhood's gone through some times, and there's still here a lot of abandoned buildings. In fact, there's one right here. There's one right here. I saw them moving stuff, you know, just like furniture and junk out of here a few days ago, and there's one right there. But that said, people are starting to buy properties here, and people are starting to move here and rehab places. There's right down there, 1 block away, there's a big condo development that's going in. I'm not even going to tell you the prices that they're asking for it, because in my opinion for Setubal, they're outrageous. But it goes to show that people are coming here. We'll see if they get those prices or not. And there's businesses that are moving in here. There's a fantastic, one of my favorite restaurants in all of Setubal. It's not traditional Portuguese cuisine, but it's outstanding. It's called Alma, A-L.M-A. And Marta is the proprietor there. She's a wonderful lady, and they have great food, kind of an Asian Portuguese inspired menu that's really terrific. So there's those up and coming places, and then there's tons of traditional places. There's a really nice pasteleria, a really nice bakery up the street. And then there's this place. It's called Cafe Moderna. I walk by here all the time. I've never been in. I've wanted to try it for the longest time, and I thought, hey, we're going to do this Moscatel video. We're going to do this Moscatel video, so let me stop in there and see what it's like. And I got to tell you, I haven't tried the Moscatel. I got a glass of wine here too. I don't know how good it is, but the atmosphere here can't be beat. This place is, you know, to use air quotes, authentic Portuguese, authentic Setubalese. And we're sitting outside. There's a couple of tables inside too. It's tiny, tiny, tiny little place. But, you know, this street, it's not much more than an alley. I mean, you can fit 1 car going down this street. In fact, I've seen people sitting here, like a car goes by, and they have to move their knees so they don't get clipped by the car. But anyway, that gives you an idea as to what this place is kind of like. This place looks great. Now let's give this a try. This is the Moscatel. Again, this is the Roxo. So this is made from the purple grapes. Again, they call them purple. They're really pink colored. But this is the Roxo Moscatel from Setubal. Okay. Wow. I'm surprised. Sometimes you go into these quote unquote dive bars and they're just serving whatever. This is really nice. This is good. I gotta say, I really like it. Probably can't see. There's a hairline crack in this glass. Just adds to the ambiance here. And then I couldn't pass up. I got a little glass of wine. Look at the size of this wine. So I thought, oh, this would be fun. We'll get, and of course, the glass is chipped over here. So, all right. Not my favorite glass of wine that I've ever had in Setubal, but it's passable, and I imagine it would be good with some bread and some cheese or something like that, or maybe a little pastel de nata or something like that. But anyway, the Moscatel is really good, and guess how much all this cost? Both of these together, these two glasses together. All told, let this car go by. See, I told you. I mean, they come right up next to you. All told, both of these together, €1.70. So less than $2 for both of these glasses here at Cafe Moderna in Setubal.
So we came in to find out a little bit more about the Moscatel, and the proprietor here, this nice gentleman, brought out this bottle of Bagaçu. This is local fire water from Palmela. He brought it out in a bottle. He said, no, this isn't the bottle that it comes in the label. It's not. And then he showed us the jug that it comes. He gets it in a plastic jug, and it's literally fire water. And he poured us a little taste of this. And wow, muito bom.
Muito bom.
But strong. I mean, I can feel it.
Forte.
Forte. Muito forte. Yeah, excellent. So, there you go. You never know what's going to happen when you come into Setubal and Cafe Moderna.
Estava previsto custar 2,5 milhões de euros, mas a construção do estádio pode afinal chegar aos 13 mil.
We're at the Casa de Turismo in Setubal. It's about a 5-minute walk, maybe less than from where we came from before at Cafe Moderna. And this again is another tourism office. And like I said when we were at Casa de Baia, tourism offices in Portugal are not the same as they are in the US. These are places where people who work here actually care about the community. They care about giving good information. This is a place you should come to in Portugal if you want information about what to do locally. And the two here in Setubal also have outstanding wine shops. The one in Casa de Baia I told you was great. The one here is great as well. They have an excellent selection. I've also been here for wine tastings. Sometimes they bring producers here and sample wines. And when we were at Cafe de Moderna, Karen went in and asked the proprietor what the name of the Moscatel that we had there, because we liked it so much. And he said it was Xavier Santana. And lo and behold, we walk in here and they have Xavier Santana for sale, because it's a local Moscatel. So we picked it up. €6.20 was the total. So less than $7 for a bottle of really good Moscatel. So we're going to take this home and enjoy sipping on this. But they also have upstairs this little cafe, and you know, it's just basically they've got wine, they've got Moscatel, and they've got a few pastries for sale. But then they have this gorgeous terrace here, and we are right on the Praça de Bocage in Setubal. This is the busiest square in all of Setubal. You come here in the summer, we're here in the early spring, but you come here in the summer, this place is jammed. But you come up here, and generally it's a lot less busy, it's a lot more quiet than it is down there, and you get the spectacular view of the square from up here. So this is a place I love coming. It's kind of an unknown little gem here in Setubal. So I got a Moscatel, and I couldn't pass up, I got a little pastry as well. This is called a pastel de convento. I asked the lady who was working there if it was from the local convento, the Convento de Jesus. She said no. It's just a generic name that they give it. And this is an industrial produced pastel pastry. So, you know, they're not in the back making it themselves. But you can see I had a bite already, and it's pretty good. It's like an almond custard in here, topped with a walnut, and then it's got a little egg custard on the top. It's a nice little pastel. I mean, come on. Got the church bells going on behind me. What else could you ask for? So that Moscatel, that's a little bit sweeter than this one, than the Xavier Santana. I gotta say, I prefer the Xavier Santana, but it's all subjective. You know, your taste might be different, and you might enjoy this one a little bit more. But all told, this was like €3 and something for the pastel and for the Moscatel. So nice little treat here in Setubal on our Moscatel crawl. So this is going to be our last stop on our Moscatel crawl in Setubal, Portugal. And this place is actually called Moscatel, a Moscatel experience in Setubal. And it's definitely the fanciest of the places that we're going to be visiting today. We're right on the Praça de Bocage, and it's just steps away from where we were before at the Casa de Turismo. So, like I said, Praça de Bocage, the most popular place in Setubal. This is the main gathering place in town. During the summer, this place is jammed. It's a nice sunny day here in the spring. There's a few people here. It's a nice atmosphere today. I should tell you why this is called Praça de Bocage. The statue behind me is of Bocage. He's Setubal's favorite son, probably the most famous person to come out of Setubal. Either him or the opera singer Luisa Todi, one of the two would be the most famous. But Bocage was not like Luisa Todi, who was celebrated during her lifetime. Bocage was not celebrated during his lifetime. He ran afoul of the law. His poetry was thought to be bordering on the pornographic, so he got into a lot of trouble. And in his personal life, he spent a lot of time chasing women, getting with married women, so you can imagine scandalous behavior 200 years ago. Anyway, after Bocage died, his work, his stories, his poetry kind of got reevaluated, and now he's celebrated. Now he's beloved in Portugal. So it just goes to show you never know what might happen. One minute you're getting tossed in jail, the next minute you're celebrated as the most beloved poet in your hometown. Now, the thing about this statue behind me, statue of Bocage, is it has a little secret to it. Like I said, Bocage was known for his poetry that kind of borders on the salacious. So they hid something in this statue. If you look from just the right angle, you can get a view of something that kind of is an homage to his salacious poetry. So that's kind of funny, the fact that this guy was persecuted when he lived here, but now is celebrated, and there's kind of a wink to the content of his poetry in that statue. So, what did I get here at the Moscatel experience? What they do, now you can get just a glass of Moscatel like I did at the other places, but what they do here that's kind of different is they make cocktails, and they make all kinds of fancy Moscatel-based cocktails. This one has juice and gin and Moscatel, and you can see it's got orange slices in here to add to that citrus flavor. It's got orange peel in here, and it's got juniper berries to reflect the gin that's in it. So that's really nice because the gin is dry and the citrus adds some acidity so you're not getting just the sweetness of the Moscatel. There's a nice depth of flavor to that. I really like it. And since I've been drinking Moscatel all day, I got some batatas fritas, some French fries, because I got to have something to eat, man. 4 Moscatels in one day. That's good. Not sure I'm going to be able to finish it though.